gotta say that new theme song is like it's everything. It is just so good. And Brian has yet to be on um to hear it. But, I mean, he'll be on at some point, I assume. Um so this is an exciting night for me. This is our first return guest that we've had on the show. And he was one of our first interviews back when it was just Kai and I. And I've known a lot of people in my life, and I will say that the guest that we have this evening is just one of the true individuals in every way, shape, and form. So I'm really excited. But first, we're quiet now. My understanding is some other folks are probably going to pop in. But the only regular panelist I have at this moment is Mr. Sean from Scythe Guitars. Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really, really well. And
my fucking AC is broken and my hair is frizzy and I feel like absolute like shit right now.
Really? Because I was gonna ask how you were doing, but
I'm good otherwise. I need this dog to shut the fuck up. But
so our guest tonight, and I mean we've just been talking over the last like 15 minutes, and I'm so excited. Here he is, man. Mr. David Torn. Hello, hey, my friend. Hello. How are you?
Ryan, I've got an incredible echo that is feeding back.
Really? I'm not hearing it. And it just started?
Yeah.
Really? Do you have headphones?
Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, it just started as we switched over to here. I can hear me echoing, but I can hear you echoing.
Interesting. I have none of that.
Any ideas?
No, should we make a film soundtrack out of it?
Oh man, there are so many of us talking at the same time. It's like there are delay lines.
Well, this is really peculiar because we just talked for 15 minutes off air and there was nothing.
Bizarre, right?
If you go into the settings and you choose echo cancellation, that can be
right. I'm in.
And then the other thing that typically tends to work is going the old school, throwing on a set of headphones. That one seems to work as well.
Oh, maybe so.
Sean, your hat is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I got it from your online web store.
Yeah. That's it.
Full price.
Lollygager is going bananas on Instagram. Hello, my friend. How are you? He's surprised I have hair.
I've heard that privately before, you know. And you know what? The first time that ever happened, they're like, "Oh, Ryan has hair." It's like,
yeah,
I didn't know either.
Yeah, no, yeah, dude, I have hair. How are we doing now in that echo, Mr. Torn? Yeah, nothing.
It's really bad. I have echo cancellation on.
Interesting. Sean, do you have echo cancellation? Let's just make sure we all have echo cancellation on.
I have echo cancellation on.
The only other thing that I can think of, David, would be to sign off and maybe sign on again. And Sean and I will try to hold down the fort till you get back.
Oh, do that. I'll do that. Yes.
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay. Be back.
Why is Will Bennett on the Instagram live and not
this motherfucker?
Why is he not here?
I thought he was doing his own live.
Well, he was unpacking a Fender Tone Master amplifier. And
Yeah. Their answer to the floor modeling units.
I guess I think that's what the Mike McCready is kind of playing out of these days.
It's wild that he went with that one.
Out of all the options out there, it is.
I hardly ever play guitar outside of work, but I was playing a little bit before I hopped on, and I'm a Quad Cortex guy now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's fucking great.
Yeah, I was talking.
I love tone. I'll talk tone all goddamn day, and that thing's got it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are. I mean, we've talked about it. I have a Kemper rack unit that I rarely touch, but you guys love those Quad Cortexes, like
I
big
do.
time.
Also, hate talking about gear, so this feels weird now. Like,
well,
when do we never talk about gear?
Well, hopefully David.
Anyway.
Hopefully David comes back so we can talk about drugs some more, like we were before we went on.
Drugs. I mean, I'd be interested to talk to him about gear, but I mean,
have you ever seen his Ronin guitar? It is.
I've seen his Ronin guitar.
It's insane.
Guitar.
All right, we're gonna try to. How we doing, Dave?
Oh, it's clear. I can hear.
All right.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Good. We were actually while you were out, we were just talking about your Ronin guitar.
The Ronin, or the pink one, or the Fiam one that I play.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So I think that's I was thinking of the Ronin, but that one is also amazing. I think, did you show us that one the last time you were on?
I don't think so. I think it was before I actually had it.
And I mean, you as a player, you require some pretty specific stuff for a guitar, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I get involved because I'm obsessive.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that started with Ronin was really amazing. That I found a guitar that they made that I really loved, but the pickups that I wanted for the guitar were not. They weren't really practical. I really love those 67 DeArmond, not the diamond ones, the S pickups. I really love them, but I have to have humbucking. I have to have pickups that buck hum, because I'm often sitting with so many screens around me that it's terrifying to be working with people who are, for example, in film, and they don't want to believe that it's okay to have hum on the guitar.
Yeah.
While you're doing something beautiful and it's super exposed. It's just too much. And it turned out that Izzy just said to me, I think it stopped me if I told you this before, but Izzy said to me, we love those pickups too. We have a locker full of the original ones, but he said, let me think about this for a minute. And I think he took a hit he took a toke off of something, and he sat there for a minute, and he went, I'll make you those pickups.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but I mean, I really want them to be able to sound like they sound as single coils. And he said, I can do that. And I said, do you have any pickups that I could try that you've made? And he goes, I've never made a pickup before. and I said, so you think you can do this? And he goes, I know I can do it. And I said, he said, listen, man, I work with Matt, and Matt, controls the lockers, and we have so many of those original pickups that Matt Wells will help me. We've been working together for 15 years. He'll help me if I have a problem. And it turned out that Izzy was right. He built those pickups. That pink guitar, I picked it up and I went, and there's so many things were wrong with the guitar. John got the width of the nut it's really fucking narrow, but it's pretty comfortable. But I was not accustomed to anything that vintage super narrow thing. And
Do you know the dimensions on that?
I can't remember, but it's way smaller than what I typically use. This one's kind of narrow, right? But it's not like that narrow. I don't know the numbers. I should know the numbers, but I don't.
That's all right.
I have no calipers. Anyway, like I picked up the guitar and I went and the color was kind of wrong, pretty wrong off the way.
Are you talking about the pink one or are you talking about this one?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the pink one. And it went it just kind of went forward. I plugged it. My friend was looking at me and he was thinking, oh, Torrance, like he's gonna be really fucking disappointed. I plugged into a nice tube amp that was there. I played a couple of notes. I felt the size of the neck down here and I went, holy shit, nothing matters because the sound is there. The fucking sound is there. And I think that like getting involved on that level where we started to like, for example, put the tornipulator circuit back together in a new way. Everybody I've done it with, we've done something a little bit differently. But all that stuff, yeah, I guess I'm obsessive though. But yeah. I think a lot of us are.
Sure. Can you describe, like you just kind of glossed over it, but can you describe the tornipulator circuit that's built into your guitars?
Yeah, this one is the best of the ones that's been built, and so I'll show you. Izzy was convinced that I needed 5 buttons. He was wrong, but I went along with it. This button, when I hit this button, it cuts out. No matter what I'm playing on the guitar, it will cut out that sound coming from the pickups, and it will revert to all of the sound coming out of the guitar is because of this shaker microphone, which is in its capsule inside here. So and these switches are quite fast, so you can actually play them rhythmically without losing your left hand. It's why it's not down here, ergonomically. I set this up to be ergonomic for me, and so that one that interrupts the signal with this and with the microphone. That's great for bird feedback. It's great for singing into your mic or picking up something that's on a sound that's on stage and sampling it into looper number 1. And then just having it show up in the guitar amp. Okay, so this button, main button number 2, is 60 cycle hum. And it's really loud and it interrupts the guitar signal. And then this button down here, which is actually moved to here. I'm doing the wrong thing. This button here turns these pickups off and allows the only sound that comes out is whatever is at the input on the guitar. So this is the normal guitar pickup output, and this is an input. So I can switch back and forth. Like, for example, I have an Omnichord that I think is one of the great drum machines of all time.
Hell yeah.
Especially if you own fuzz boxes like I do.
Yeah.
So all that stuff can come out of whatever system I'm playing in. If it's one amp, if it's a wet, dry, wet, or whatever you want to call it. I used to call it 3-point stereo in 1980, but now it's called wet, dry, wet. All that stuff of being able to bring in these outside sounds, interrupt what I'm playing because I bore the fuck out of myself often. Yep. So, and I like the interruptions of noise that I'm trying to apply musically. Yeah, I'm obsessive, man. I get to. It's been great.
Well, I think Sean Dustin is probably going to place an order for a safe guitar with a tornipulator installed in it. So.
Whoever does it, I do suggest like the people to talk to about the circuit are Izzy, Lugo, and Saul Cole also knows it pretty well.
Right
And
on.
Well, that's good to know.
yeah, and somebody, believe it or not, there's someone on the gear page who has built a couple of them, but I can't remember who it is because that's a funny place to hang out.
But you do. Like you are
Yeah.
you are kind of royalty around there, which I think is
It's
No.
not really. It's not real at all. But it's there's enough resonance there for me that I don't do it like I used to
yeah.
because I don't think I pose as somebody that I'm not while I'm there. So I'm not there to like make myself into royalty at there, but I know that there are a lot of intelligent people that get stuck in these huge masses of dumbass motherfucker guitar players who don't know shit about the rest of the world of music.
Preach.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there are so many guitar players, and it's totally cool. I can make friends even with anybody, but I think, you know, guitar is a folk instrument, and I just felt like I shouldn't abandon the idea that I had my truth to say to people who are starting out, who might need to hear that music is actually worthwhile. You know,
Yeah.
that music, it's not just about the gear. You have the gear and maybe you design it or build it, but you do it because it's fucking music.
Right.
And that's kind of the only reason. My wife thinks, and both of my sons think it's so ridiculous that I still go over there and go, well, no,
Yeah.
that's not right. What are you saying?
You know, I've always kind of talked about having a love-hate relationship with TGP, and I think I'm a gold like member. So I give money to them.
Oh yeah. No, I've seen you there recently. I think I've seen your name in a post.
What are you doing in there, Ryan?
Well, because I think so. Here's my perspective on it. I think it's necessary. And it's one of the few places in the world where, like, really, because like every once in a while you see people pop up with like, I just got my first fuzz pedal. What do I do with it? And then there are answers. Like, not all of them right, but there are answers. And you know, like, I do think it's necessary for us to have a place where we can talk about stuff that we can't talk to our families about. We can't talk to our, you know, most of our friends about, you know, like there's a place where you can go and you can just be a nerd and do it. And I think it's important for that to exist. At the same time, there are a number of bad apples in that bunch. And
I mean, it really is. It really is. It really is a mess. And I can be really clear. No matter what I say or do there, no matter the fact that I constantly put up clips so that people can see that there might be something else you could do with the instrument and still be a full-time musician, something beyond that, the top level of whatever is the most popular thing at the moment. Most guitar players are still at the most popular thing at the moment from 25 years ago. So I still feel like there's just no question that I can't sell my shit there. There can't happen, because on the other hand, I've made some friends that I've been now friends with for a long time because something resonated. So it's the only reason I hung on. Even some of my my favorite places to go there are now. I'm just like a voice in the dark. I feel like,
Screaming into the void.
No, it's not even screaming. It's more like I'm going, oh, I don't know, like whining or something, whining in the dark.
Yeah. I mean, that's me in a nutshell. But I mean,
with you.
I was thinking as you were talking about the pickups that you were having wound for the pink guitar. I was thinking about how one of the few times that we have interacted on TGP was in a discussion about pickups and specifically about gold foils, and that is something that you are like super super passionate about. So I mean, like I couldn't imagine how daunting that might have been to design a set of pickups for someone like you who like you hear stuff I don't hear, and
well, I was looking for the thing that, and this is amazing. I was a really big fan of Ry Cooder from way back, from when I was a kid, and he was just stepping out before there was digital anything, before he made the first digital record, and it just never struck me that the thing that I was looking for so many decades was just being able to hear the string. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to use the fuzz, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to blow up another amp. It just means I need the ability to hear the top of the string as an acoustic thing, at least in my belief system, in my head. I need to feel that. And the gold foils they just offer such an amazing amount of richness. When you find the ones that you like, I couldn't get. It was really a revelation for me to just go, that's what I want. I just want it my way a little bit. I just want to get a little bit of that humbucker thing, and be able to use them practically. It seemed like it was a kind of. Really, I think about this and I go, Ry, man, fucking Ry Cooder. And yet we ended up building this guitar, and you saw how those guitars went crazy because of the pickups.
Yeah.
They modified them too. They went a little more, I think they went a little more conservative than the ones that I have in the prototypes. That's still it's such an incredible set of pickups. Now I've gotten used to a little bit more volume from these most recent ones that are a crossover between a P90 and a serious crossover between P90 and gold foil, leaning heavily into some meat from P90s. But
sure.
They still have that. I can still do that stringy thing,
You could hear the tops of the strings.
Oh, tops of the strings, if I want to, I can make it sound acoustic. So,
Sean, as a guitar builder, right? If David Torn came into your shop and was like, I want something very specific, like, is that something I feel like you could go either way with it as a guitar builder, where you could be like, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this. We're going to go back and forth and we're going to do this thing. And it's going to be worth it. Or, like, I'm going to put all these weird modifications into this guitar and it's not going to be worth it. Like, where do you get excited when somebody comes in and they're like, I have these great ideas? Or are you kind of like, I just want to do the normal thing?
I usually tend to err on the side of doing the normal thing. That being said, like, gold foils, for example, I'll throw gold foils in guitar like all day long, as long as I think it's going to be a good fit for the instrument that I'm making. I'm not one of the people out there that is like super truly creative and has a mind for design. I just know how to make old shit function the way that I think it should.
Sure.
So I'm not always the right guy, and I am very ready and willing to admit that.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll fuck around a little bit here and there.
I think I think the difference maybe in what I'm describing is, and I think this is a pretty clear like line of demarcation would
Mhm.
be David knows what he wants to hear, and
Well,
he
but Ryan, remember when you're saying that the fact is that for decades I dicked around with pickups, and the only ones that I really loved, I never tried to put into a nice guitar, and those were those originally were some. I think they were Tesco gold foils that I had in my Conrad 335. You
yeah.
and I was too dumb to go, how important is this to me? Until
Yeah.
I was until I was in God, I was like I think I had already been I was over 60. I've been playing since I was 12.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Like,
Man,
I mean,
dumb. It
I
was dumb. I've
I
had some great pickups. No shit, really. Dom Ramos built me amazing on the first Cole Tornado. He built an incredible bridge pickup that just was gorgeous sounding. It was like a great telly pickup that rammed its way into P90 territory. It was gorgeous pickup. Still on that guitar. But I just never I don't know why. I was always focused on the amp. I was always focused on the ergonomics of the guitar, and I just was I was, and then always go, man, I hate this pickup today, or and so I went back to like just to go head over towards Sean. I went back to I had a Tyler Strat for a while with some really nice Strat pickups in it. I had a great, fantastic Japanese Strat from Tokai that I ended up giving to a gift of to I think that went to Uli Teufel, the guitar
oh
maker,
cool.
and
Cool.
he just fell in love with that guitar, and it was fantastic playing something so classic. Still, there weren't the sounds that I was looking for as like a bass tone for me. I love the old stuff. I really do. Man, I've got some badass old stuff behind me
I'd
now.
love to see it. I'd
Oh
love to
man,
see it. Yeah, I
my
mean, it's
my
kind of different, Sean. When I order a guitar from you, I'm like, I don't even care what color it is. Just like,
As long as it's not red.
Yeah,
as
your
long as it's
guitars
not red.
sound amazing and they're beautiful. And I still need to know why your name is pronounced the way it's pronounced. Shouldn't it be Soif or Swift?
No, the umlaut is because our Dave Seiferling, who founded Seif Guitars, he liked Motley Crue, so he put the umlaut on the U. And he liked Judas Priest too. It's more a Judas Priest thing, I think. But
Right. Okay,
That's an old Mustang.
that's a 65.
Wow, and Pelham Blue.
You see a Mustang, right?
that's Daphne.
Definitely looks
Whatever,
like a
it's all
Mustang.
blue. Yeah, it definitely looks like a Mustang.
Okay. You see the neck?
Yeah.
I'm having mirror problems. Here we go. You see what it says on the neck?
No. You're gonna have to look.
Duosonic 2.
Oh, so you
I
have a
got-
Duosonic
I got this from George Grun in I don't know what year.
of Grun guitars?
Grun Guitars.
That's
$225. He said, we think that the guitar came this way, but we're not sure because it's the same year neck, but it's a Duosonic 2 neck with
How wild.
rosewood. This guitar sounds like it is so fucking good to play, but I only play it. It's got I think the low string is like a 60 something. It's
Oh wow,
strung
that's heavy.
really heavy for slide.
Yeah.
It is my slide guitar. It sounds so good when it's working. I love this.
I just got rid of my last Mustang that I had, and at times I miss it.
I can't let go of that guitar. I just can't do it. Like,
I know. It's just like
What year was your Mustang, Ryan?
67.
those pickups.
Yeah. Well, the pickups were gone. I put in Righteous Sound pickups.
I like the sound of that guy's pickups a lot. Do you use them, Sean?
No, we twist up our own.
You do?
Yeah, we do. For
Props.
90, when we don't, we use Righteous Sound.
Yeah.
But that's like very few and far between.
I think for most of it, I did a video once about the guitars that I own and the pickups that are in them, and all the Scythe guitars have Scythe guitar pickups in them. Everything else, except for the gold foil guitars, has Righteous Sound in it. And then the gold foil, I have Mojo stuff, which you're a fan of, correct, David?
I like them. They seem to be right on the cusp of like they were the first pickup that looked like the Ronin pickups.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the sound of them. I think they're really good. That guy seems really good. Righteous sounds really good. There's another there's a builder that's local to me in like Poughkeepsie, New York, who's really good.
Are you in Ithaca?
No, used to be. For many years I was, but
Okay.
We're up in past Woodstock in the Catskills.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spent some time when I moved out of the city. I went up to Buffalo for a little bit, and I went down to. Now it starts with an S.
Syracuse?
No, Saratoga Springs.
Oh, Saratoga, north of Albany. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got arrested there.
Wait, for what though?
We had, it was a girl and I, and we had a couple of glasses of wine at dinner, which was apparently more than a couple of glasses. Because I got pulled over. I got pulled over in a rental, right? Because like at that point in time, I was still living in the city, and we rented a car and we went up. We were gonna stay at like a B&B and do that thing, and we go to this jazz club and have a couple of glasses of wine, and then I get pulled over, and and I did the breathalyzer thing, and I was like just like this much over, and so he's like, well, I got to bring you in, and I was like, okay. And so I go in, and their police station in Saratoga Springs at the time, I'm sure this has changed, but in the early 2000s, did not have a jail cell.
Oh.
So what they did was they handcuffed me to the front desk. And I was like, you guys really don't have a jail cell? And they were like, no, we don't. And I was like, Mayberry had 2.
Mayberry. Oh Lord.
And so I'm handcuffed to this desk, and this guy comes out who had a more important looking uniform on, and he slaps down a Yellow Pages in front of me. And there's it's open to the lawyers page, and there's one ad that's circled in red Sharpie. And he was like, you can call anybody you want from this list. I'm like, well, I'm going to call the one with the red fucking Sharpie.
God. Good movie, man.
And that guy came in, and he got me out of jail. He got me out of being handcuffed to the front desk. And and then I went back to the city and called my lawyer in Brooklyn, and it was all taken care of very quickly. But that was my experience of Saratoga Springs. I have not been back since.
It's kind of a strange place, but I kept looking at this note over here that said, Sean's freaking telebridges are insane.
They are.
The pickups are, I use Callahan bridges, so I don't really.
No,
Probably the pickups.
your bridge pickups, yeah.
I take no credit. Mark wines all the pickups.
Yeah.
But
they have
I can kind of talk about him.
They have a set, David, that they have called the Deacon Blues set.
Yeah.
Which, like, I'm in favor. I'm just like, anytime you invoke Steely Dan, I'm in favor. And they're really hot. Like, they're really hot Strat pickups and Tele pickups, and they're amazing. They're really.
It's a trick to get a hot pickup that you can get that top of the string sound into the sound without it being crushed, because you got so much volume from the smaller strings on the bigger strings on the guitar. I think it's really a trick that I don't understand.
Probably something to do with magnet diameter and wire gauge and Mark can go nuts talking about it.
Tightness of wind.
I have no fucking idea.
Honestly, they say the size of the winding hole, right?
Yeah,
right. It's the
coating on the wire.
It's all in how you use it, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm reading these. So Thomas Jerome Newton says all cats are halal.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? I don't even know.
So you have like you have what kosher is, right?
I do.
So there's kosher and non-kosher, and that is halal and harar.
Okay.
Bad pronunciation, but you get the idea.
But what was the purpose of the comment?
What the fuck? What are you talking about, dude? I like that though.
I
feel like I've had a drink.
Yeah, so that's a good point. It's one of the things that we talked about. So you have a very distinct position in After Dark history, in that you are the only person who has ever come on the show drinking absinthe, and you informed us ahead of time that you have since quit. For the most part, quit the booze.
Yeah, I'm not quit. I really just had to relax it, and it's good. It's a good thing. And like I said, I still have to, when I go to a gig, I still sip something.
Is that a nerve? Is that a nerve thing? Like at your?
No, but you know how. Do you know that like a lot of classical musicians, before they have like a performance that they're really into, they take beta blockers?
Yeah.
So I mean, whiskey and a very small bit of absinthe are very similar for me. I'm not nervous really, but I have nervous energy, but it's not a negative thing. But it helps me focus a little bit. So sometimes just like really a tiny bit, but it's in the moment, it's just bad for me. It's bad for my health. So
Well, I mean, I
gotta get through this to find out if I've actually quit or not.
Yeah, no, it's a hell of a poison. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. But I mean, it's just the trick. I've taken beta blockers before gigs. And it works. It's like it's like you're just like, you walk out on the stage and you're just kind of like, everything's gonna be fine. And I'm in control of what I can do. And I'm not in control of the things that I'm not in the control of. And it's just kind of like,
I should try that.
I'm having a funny reaction to them because I think I thrive on, like there's some kind of like personality trait that I've heard discussed by people much more intelligent than me.
I can't imagine.
In which there are people who, like me, I build up a lot of energy and kind of like, I think about things like music in a very oblique way, oblique, getting ready to actually make the music. and that was almost always like there's a really quick crossover from that kind of obliqueness to being completely concentrated. And
Sure.
it makes me I'm a last minute person. I do everything late. I'm always like, and that energy, I'm so accustomed to it that taking the beta blockers for me is like, it's kind of like, okay, my blood pressure has been perfect for my entire life. And now taking beta blockers, my blood pressure is lower. And I'm
Sure.
kind of like, I kind of miss the edge a little
Yeah.
bit. Or I'm nervous about like, not where's my edge? Do I, and then I forget that I needed it. Of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's, I mean,
Like,
one of the things that I have experienced just in the years of chatting with you online and talking with you here on the show and stuff like that is like, I think you look at the concept of art and music in a very different way than I do. I think that you see more tentacles of it and you recognize how it all works together in a way that I don't understand.
I, I think that it's fair to say, and I mean it seriously, that it's just the amount of time that I've spent, like in the music. I'm just doing what I can do, and it's important to me that I do that with full sincerity, and that has meant just a lot of fucking concentration. Did we
Yeah.
just? Are we still together there?
Oh yeah, we're all here.
I lost you guys. There for
There's a
second.
dog. There's a dog. No, I was just I soloed you up. But yeah, no, yeah, you're
You know what I mean?
y-
Like I'm just doing what I do at this point in my life. I feel I don't even feel confident about it. I don't feel unconfident about it. I just want to keep moving and keep producing. That's it. And it's what's most important to me.
yeah.
Outside of family and friends, it is my life's thing. And I think it just now, at some point, I just started admitting to myself that I had to investigate these things that I wouldn't have investigated if I stayed in school. And I only could have investigated by always being in a band, always trying to stretch one of these things that I think about. What happens, I've been practicing that thing where you pull, where you take a string and
Yeah.
you pull it off the neck,
Yeah.
and you can't hear the note without the amp, of course,
Sure.
the dead note. But I look at stuff like that and I go, wow, this is really useful. As long as I can incorporate this and integrate it into my playing, why wouldn't I use that, for example, as a percussive effect or to interrupt a beautiful melody and give it an odd little bit? And I don't know, I got older and I just went, yeah, let it go. Just keep doing it. Just find more things to do. The only thing I work on, the only thing I really work on, and this is a fault of mine at this point in time, is I work on my pitch. I work on trying to control the pitches that I'm playing so hard. And what I mean is, it's not like it's physically hard to do. It is a little bit like it's because I'm using the bar so much to try to get to the correct quarter tone that I want to hear, knowing I want to get to that quarter tone. I need to get there. It's really the primary thing that I practice. I just so much time.
I can't imagine like aiming for a quarter tone. Like that is just that idea is just so foreign to me.
But you'd play them. But you'd play them, Ryan.
Well, accidentally, I'm sure. on the way to a half step, I'm sure I do.
I think every electric guitar player who bends strings will eventually land on a quarter tone or somewhere near a quarter tone, something that is certainly not in tune with equal temperament.
Yeah.
And you will be very happy when you hit that note. Suddenly it's like, boom, and I think that, I don't know, I gotta, it's an obsession that I mean, I don't think about it when I'm eating great food or drinking my morning coffee, but but it's a pattern of work in my life at this stage. I'm old now. I'm a septuagenarian. It's like
It's true.
everything's different. It's really different. It's like all of a sudden you go, wow, everything's breaking down, but I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Do
you one of the things that I always been curious when it comes to avant-garde musicians. I love listening to avant-garde music. I think it's absolutely extraordinary. I can't do it. But I enjoy listening to it. My question is, like, when you're going into this, do you have an idea of what you want to say, and you kind of pull all the parts into it to, or is it like, I have an idea of where I want to go and I'm going to branch off into these other areas until I can kind of find my way?
I think it's all of those things. It's like whatever. It's kind of however mostly. I'm going by feel. So I mean, a lot of the improvs that I do now are I don't know. A lot of the improv stuff that I do, which I don't really consider to be avant-garde, because I know avant-garde people, and I come from so many different places that I can't think of myself in a bag. I just can't. I just think, well, all I want to do is play sincerely what I feel. So like different things I do differently. Sometimes I really know. I did put up this really bullshit thing on Instagram like 2 days ago, where I was listening to somebody's backing track and it had only 2 chords in it. And so I copied it for myself. I just learned it really fast. I went, okay, that's his backing track. And it had full drums and all shit like that. So it was like a real backing track, and which I respect. I don't disrespect it. I don't hate it. Sometimes I love them. But I thought, okay, well, why don't I make a loop that's like, treat it like it's a backing track. So I did it. I said 2 chords. That's it. So I came up with 2 chords. And I suddenly realized I was playing the melody from Rolling Stones' "Miss You" from 1978. Yes. Right. And I went, it had something that Mick Jagger said about the song made it trigger in my head. He said to some journalist at some point, and I really thought, this is kind of deep. The journalist asked him if he wrote that because of the breakup with his wife Bianca, and Jagger says, no. Well, what would give you that idea? Well, because baby, why do you wait so long? And he's going, no. It's like an allegory for longing, for being nostalgic for something that you no longer can have. It's just like a storyline, and I that really triggered for me, because I understand that. I never thought I would hear Mick Jagger say something like that about a song, a rock song that clearly is about, she's not there anymore, and you fucked up, and where is she? Because you fucked up. That's it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So it triggered this, and I made this really dumb piece of music out of it. I think I did it very badly. And what I did was I put the chords down in a loop, right? I just looked at the guitar. I went, right, okay, so these two chords, play two chords. I played two. I went, great. It's going to be those two chords. Loop those. Start that. Then I looped some weird little thing in the background that was, if you isolated it, would be a melody, except I made the sound kind of strange or alien. And then went, okay, so turn them off. I turned them off, and then I hit record, and I went, okay, now what do you do? And I hit a chord, two chords, and then I hit both of the two loops on and just went from there. And I really wasn't thinking about anything except, well, you're going to play that melody, so work around it a little bit and really make it, maybe take it really far away from what it is. Just play it as you feel it and then get to it at some point. But that's what happens. I don't really think about it in advance, other than, oh, I just made these two loops. I better use them.
Yeah. You know? There's a really great question that just popped up on Instagram that I have been curious about as well. And the question is, I'm curious what David listens to during downtime, or does he prefer silence? And then he adds a PS. I loved the Splatter Cell works. They were a big inspiration when I started out on the guitar.
Wow.
What do you listen to? If we were to pull up your musical application of choice,
it's gonna the cheap answer is I work on other people's music when I'm not working on my music, and I work on so much of other people's music that's what it is my work to mix a record well for somebody, to do some kind of an arrangement, to master something that can't be mastered. All those kinds of things that are of high interest to me is what I do with my musical time. However, I listen to a lot of singers, and I tend to I really listen to a lot of singers, and then usually they're to give you an idea. I mean, I love this Irish band. My favorite band currently is Lankum from Dublin. They're an amazing Irish band that plays only traditional material in a very connected to traditional sound, but much bigger and darker than that. Listen to them. I really like the singer Aldous Harding, although she's gotten poppier over the years. Completely incredible musician. A lot of my friends I listen to because we either have working relationships or just are respectful of each other. I listen to a lot of the guitar players. I really am into a lot of the younger guitar players: Brandon Seabrook, Mike Baggetta, Harvey Valdez, Ryan Miller, Alex Kallenberger. I mean, there are so many great young guitar players that I know that it's kind of stupid, and because the business is not. The business of creative music is not what it was 10 years ago, and it's absolutely not what it was 30 years ago or 20.
Yeah.
The business itself, it's not, there's not a lot to support far-reaching music that goes outside of the lines of pop or avant-garde or classical, that just is music that is, it's like you remember when you heard like Spirit of Eden for the first time, and everybody went, what the fuck is that? Or Kate Bush, or whatever. Going back earlier, it was Eric Dolphy and Coltrane and all these different things, and the Texas guitar swing people, all those things that were new, that everything in America, at least, and I think around most of the Western civilization stuff, it just seems like there's just not a lot of support there for anybody who's young and being great. This,
Well, I mean, and I kind of go, both ways with it. Like on one hand, um, I, as one who worked doing session work and stuff like that, like I've looked at how my income has changed over the years.
yeah,
And that idea of being a mid-level artist that can eke out $45,000 a year, $50,000 a year, and you're still doing the thing that you love. Like that doesn't exist anymore. There's this wide chasm, and at the end of it, there's Taylor Swift.
I think that I really believe that the torrents, which became
Yep.
Spotify, I
Yep.
think really believe it was the destruction of people's respect for.
It was the devaluation of
The people don't really understand that music need people. There are people in music who need to spend every day of their life on music, whether and it doesn't matter if it's playing or building new instruments, or it's anything that revolves around supporting the art of music. It's fucking magical. I mean, you just can't get around it. When it's happening, you are transformed, and the respect for that has disappeared once everything was free. I just don't see it as much. We play these gigs, Ryan, in Brooklyn at the kind of local that we frequent in Gowanus, and we play these gigs for nothing, and people come, and it can get very crowded, and the gigs are great, and you don't have to pay anything. And you know what? Most people don't pay anything. And you go, so there's this hot band, right? And we are cooking, and we're giving it up, and you get a QR code, and you can pay whatever you want. And it's shocking how, and these are musicians. This is not about me. These are musicians who are internationally known for being great musicians in various fields. And you and I share the session thing. For example, I still do sessions, and I've done lots in the pop world, and really a lot in the pop world that people don't even, do you know who played the solo in the Public Display of Affection by John Legend? Me. Those things that used to be so exciting to do, things like I mean, I'm on 2 Manhattan Transfer records, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 5 different Bowie records. I don't know what's in the bag that might come out at some point in time. All the work with just so many people, a lot of it due to I became friends with this great guy who was producing a lot of records, and he always wanted something odd from me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't see a lot of this anymore. I don't see, or what I don't see is I don't see the economic.
And that's the thing. And so, like, when I say I'm kind of split on it, like there is the part of me who is the working musician who is like, this sucks, this is terrible, this is robbery, this is whatever. But then there's the part of me that also really enjoys that I can go like through Spotify recommendations. I can find a jazz group out of Croatia who's doing something really, really incredible, and I can enjoy that in a way that I was never able to enjoy that growing up before.
I'm totally there. I come onto YouTube, and mostly what I do is especially in the last. I'm really working on my acoustic instrument playing again,
Mhm.
and that includes the oud, which I put aside for physical reasons to start with, but then just out of working too hard on other things. So working, I go to YouTube and I get in touch with all of these oud players who are way better than me, and I basically take lessons from them online.
Yeah.
And they're doing it for the likes. I'm totally understood. I'm getting a lesson for free, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But then also, how would I never would have found Lankum if it weren't for a free serve. I pay for YouTube Music,
Yeah.
which means they get something, but you know what that something is.
I
It's like
do.
it's
It's
like
very
yeah,
minimal.
it's
Yeah.
it's a fucking speck, you
Yeah.
know. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
man, it's a weird. I guess my hope is that
whining after dark.
yeah, like we are winding after dark. My hope is that there will be a way that those two things can come together, and that I can still find a great jazz group out of Croatia that I have no business knowing who they are, and they still get paid. You know, like that's my hope, is that we can marry these two things and have it work out. I don't know if it's gonna happen in my lifetime, but
Yeah, what concerns me as an old person is that I end up I don't not really a good teacher, but I end up in kind of clinic and mentoring things with committed young musicians who you have to be honest with. It
mhm,
you have to say brutal things like, if you want this, you really gotta want it bad
yeah,
enough to work really fucking harder to work for now than when I was a kid, and that
yep,
was hard. I
yep,
mean, it was always hard, but the blow up of the industry and the lack of support from so many, the destruction of the best part of the musicians union by bad people,
yeah,
um, you know, where the musicians union was capable of protecting everybody, who all musicians who worked on known projects from getting ripped off and not making any money on the back end of things that are being used twice instead
yep,
of for the one time they worked,
yep,
right? Where you play on somebody's record and then, oh yeah, so we just took that and put it on another record, so it's on two records now, but I only got paid for one. The
right,
union was great at that for people like me, really protective, and that's been blown to shit.
yeah,
And it's true that it was like an elite group of people I happen to have fell into, and that it was elite, but that union area, they were the only people who were saying, no, 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 you can't do that. You can't use it again. You can't turn it into a TV commercial for a product where you're getting paid again and they don't get paid.
well,
Now that's
one of
just
the one of the
crashing.
things one of the things I hear often is, there is there is um a lot of like they'll do these like reissues on Spotify, right? Where they reissue a record and they hire other players to come in and play the exact same parts that were on the record. At a and they're basically scabs, right? And they play the parts, and then Sharon Osbourne doesn't have to pay Geezer Butler royalties on whatever it was that he played on. And
Yeah,
I use Sharon a um as an example because she's famously one of the first people who figured this out. And so you get these reissues, and the supporting players are not getting the royalties out of it, even as slim as the fucking royalties are. They're not getting them.
right.
And
Right.
it's a really, it's really sad. It's just
Yeah.
and I speak at a college, um and it's a music business program, and what's really sad and also encouraging at the same time is that none of these kids right now even have a dream of making it as a professional original musician. And
Mhm.
so the reason I speak at these things is because they're like, you figured out how to monetize, playing guitar, and you're doing it in a way that is not, like not what you expected. You're not Keith Richards. You're not doing that thing, but you figured out how to make a living and still have a guitar in your lap. And and it's just kind of become that, where it's like, how do you manipulate this thing that you are so incredibly passionate about to be something that can make money for advertisers? Like it's like, and that's the game right now. Is
Yeah.
it's not like, can I make a hit record? It's like, can I sell this to Budweiser?
I know. I haven't done enough film scores that where you really are you're working for someone else.
Yeah.
You're working for someone else's ideas. It's not like being a record producer, even though that's a little bit like that. It's like being. It's amazing what you can come up with and do it, but the film industry is now not really supporting it's not supporting much score music. It's very often, and the support that there is has fell through the floor. It's really unbelievable that what's gone on there, and there is an element there of there has to be an element there of you know that you're monetizing what you can do. In my case, I did it because I saw it as a challenge to work for a story, and I grew up with a lot of music in the house and a lot of story. My mother was a Broadway or off Broadway writer, and there was music in our house all the time, and everybody was always struggling, and you kind of went, you know it, I was sent to the Bernstein Leonard Bernstein things in New York, the music for young people, music for young composers, whatever it was
Sure.
called. I my sister and I were sent there to kind of pick up on the idea of how story relates to music, and by my mom. And you know, in the film world, you are constantly working with a storyline, and you do develop. It was an amazing way to monetize, uh, to have monetized what I would be able to write and have orchestrated or orchestrate myself to get into a film score. And I learned shit tons first from working for other people as a soloist or the only textualist in the group, and then as a composer myself, having been around all these stories and stuff. It's an incredible way to work, but I can no longer say to young people, hey, go to Hollywood, see if you can find a director who's interested, a young director that you can work with, and get your chops together and learn how to write your music. Don't copy anybody else's music, no matter what they ask you to do. Just take ideas from people, that's fine. Don't copy anybody. You find your original voice by struggling for it, doing this, and monetize that at the same time. But I can't say that to young people anymore, because you just I have a great young a kid who's he could be a great film composer. He's already really good. He's only 20, and I've mentored him since he was like 14 or 15. He's going to be great, but what are his options going to be? You look at it and go, this is depressing.
Yeah.
And I know why.
Yeah,
I see what happened.
um,
And all I really want is all I ever wanted to do was just play music, and I've had the opportunity to mostly do that. But it's I feel so like lucky compared to him, for
yeah,
example. I
yeah,
feel so lucky,
yeah.
and so
And I mean, and let's also not like, you know, you worked your ass off. Like, let's not like play that down. I mean, you absolutely have worked your ass off, and and continue to work your ass off every single day.
yeah, I'm very concentrated. I don't function well if I'm not productive.
Yeah,
I have to have some productivity. There's got to
yeah,
be something going on. And if I'm not doing it, then it's in my head.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're over our hour, which I think the last time we talked to you went significantly over an hour, and I'm trying to keep these down to an hour. But man,
how do I find out what everybody? Because it looks like people said really interesting shit, but there's a lot of it.
there is a lot of it. It's I think what I got to do here is thank you for your time. I mean, you are you're an inspiration to a lot of us, and just to have the ability to sit down and talk with you for an hour is absolutely
I'm so
thrilling.
happy to do this, Ryan. It's fun. I get to run my mouth. I always hate myself afterwards. Mouth just goes, you know.
I don't think you said anything that
I much
crazy.
rather play.
Yeah, and yeah, you're absolutely an inspiration to me, just to kind of play your truth at the end of the day, and just play what's in your heart. And I think at that point, the people who know will come to you, right?
I think Ryan, my next record is I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's going to be a relatively big release in terms of how much material there is. Um, dude, how'd that get up on the screen like that?
I put it out there.
Oh, dude. Hi, Howard.
We got you.
Miss you, dude.
Thank you, Guru.
You know, it's going to be a big thing for me, and I've considered that it could be the last of the big of a important release to me of my new material. But it's also going to be, I think there's going to be a little bit of a shocker in what the nature of it is. So I'm really excited that this is going to happen in 2025. In February, March, April, somewhere in there. It's gonna happen. And
Well, I'm
vinyl
excited.
too. And vinyl, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's right. I'm excited, and I hope that it is honestly not the last thing that we get out of you as far as that goes. Sean, what do we got? Do we have Kevin Morby next week?
Kevin Morby next week.
Kevin Morby next week. So that'll be exciting. And again, David, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you more than you know.
I will let you know when I'm going to be in Minneapolis next time.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
We'll, you, me, and JT will go hang out and drink coffee or seltzer water.
Or have that incredible brisket thing at what's the name of that club again that I love so much? Ice House.
Oh yeah, they have a great brisket there.
Oh man,
they have such good stuff there.
I don't eat meat, but I eat brisket there.
Well, shit, David, come to Kansas City then.
You should. We should all go to Kansas City.
I should come over because I'd like to play one of those.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Self-serving as usual,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love both you guys. We'll see you next week for Kevin Morby. Thank you so much.
Thanks, gentlemen.